हेलो दोस्तों एंड स्वागत है आपका आज की इस वीडियो के अंदर जहां पे हम देखेंगे एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन को फ्रॉम पॉलिटिकल साइंस एंड इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस। एंड इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर मैं आपको सिखाना चाहती हूं कि किस तरह से स्ट्रक्चर को अप्रोच करें एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली जो कि स्टूडेंट्स बहुत बार घबराते हैं कि इंटरलिंकेजेस अक्रॉस पेपर राइट अक्रॉस पेपर जो है उसको हम कैसे इंश्योर कर सकते हैं। ये चीज़ें जो मैं आपको दिखाऊंगी एंड साथ ही में ग्रेट वेज जिसके थ्रू जो करंट चीज़ें हो रही हैं उनको एग्जाम्पल की तरह यूज़ कैसे कर सकते हैं हम थ्योरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस में विच विल फर्दर एनरिच योर आंसर्स. This is also something that you will gain. Now, importantly, this is one of the answers that I have discussed in our live means crash course for 2024, जहाँ पे हम using previous year questions तैयारी कर रहे हैं, रिवाइज कर रहे हैं ताकि हमारा स्कोर बेहतरीन आ सके इन पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑप्शनल फॉर योर मेंस 2024. तो अगर आप भी ऐसे ही एक एस्पिरेंट है जो कि घबरा रहे हैं, रिवीजन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं या फिर आंसर राइटिंग के साथ कोप अप नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, आंसर स्ट्रक्चरिंग नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं या फिर PYQs को प्रैक्टिस करना चाहते हैं, तो ये कोर्स आपके लिए है. कंप्लीटली लाइव है ये. साथ ही साथ में अपार्ट फ्रॉम लेक्चर्स जो कि आपको कोर्स में दिए जाएंगे, यू ऑल्सो गेट कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री टेस्ट्स. तो आपको यहाँ पे 10 जो है वीकली टेस्ट भी मिलेंगे प्लस फुल लेंथ टेस्ट जो हैं वो भी मिलेंगे. और साथ ही साथ में आप यहाँ पे चूज कर सकते हैं वेदर आप इन टेस्ट को इवैल्यूएट कराना चाहते हैं या नहीं इवैल्यूएट कराना चाहते हैं. ठीक है, सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द सेम आप चुन सकते हैं और आप इस क्रैश कोर्स का हिस्सा बन सकते हैं. नाउ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली अगर आपको और इन्फॉर्मेशन चाहिए यू कैन कॉल ऑन दिस नंबर और कॉन्टैक्ट अस ऑन cp.classes@gmail.com. नेक्स्ट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली वी ऑल्सो हैव अ टेस्ट सीरीज राइट. यहाँ पे 10 क्वेश्चन होंगे, 10 क्वेश्चन सिर्फ PYQs नहीं बल्कि कुछ PYQs होंगे एंड बाकी न्यू क्वेश्चंस जिनके आने की चांसेस हैं राइट based on current issues. साथ ही में 4 full length tests, 2 will be based on PYQs and 2 will be based on new questions, model answers, video solutions, detailed evaluation as well as feedback and telegram group आपको दोनों ही crash course as well as test series के लिए मिलता है for mentorship and doubt resolution. देन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली अगर आप एक फाउंडेशन स्टूडेंट है तो मैं आपको बताना चाहती हूँ कि हमारा बैच 5 जो है लॉन्च हो गया है. डिटेल्ड शेड्यूल हमारे वेबसाइट पे अवेलेबल है. 29 जुलाई से ओरिएंटेशन क्लासेस शुरू हैं एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली 5 जुलाई से जो क्लासेस हैं वो शुरुआत हो जाएंगी. डिटेल तरीके से आपको रिकॉर्डेड फॉर्मेट में लेक्चर्स दिए जाएंगे ताकि आप फ्लो में सारी चीज़ें जो है कवर कर सकें. साथ ही में टू कोप अप विद ऑल द डायनामिक एलिमेंट्स यू आर ऑल्सो गिवन मंथली करंट अफेयर्स लेक्चर्स ताकि आपको जो डायनामिज्म ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट है ऑफ PSIR उससे घबराने की ज़रूरत ना पड़े, वो भी हम आपके लिए पूरा कवर कराएंगे. इनको ज्वाइन करने के लिए आप या तो हिस्सा बन सकते हैं हमारे विदाउट इवैल्यूएशन कोर्स का जहाँ पे ना ही आपको लेक्चर्स प्लस करंट अफेयर्स लेक्चर्स प्लस टेस्ट सीरीज भी मिलती है राइट. साथ ही साथ में डाउट रेजोल्यूशन के लिए ग्रुप भी है एंड मंथली लाइव इंटरेक्शन भी होती है फॉर स्ट्रेटेजिक डाउट्स राइट. यहाँ पे आप आंसर्स लिख सकते हैं बट खुद इवैल्यूएट कर सकते हैं यूजिंग मॉडल आंसर्स एंड वीडियो सॉल्यूशंस. हाउएवर अगर आप अपने आंसर्स को चेक भी कराना चाहते हैं तो आप हमारे विद इवैल्यूएशन कोर्स को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. लास्टली अगर आप एक सिलेक्टेड कैंडिडेट के साथ मेंटरशिप भी चाहते हैं वाया टेलीफोनिक कॉल्स तो आप हमारा मेंटरशिप का जो कोर्स है उसका हिस्सा बन सकते हैं. अगेन फॉर मोर डिटेल्स यू कैन गेट इन टच विद आवर टीम. इससे अब आगे बढ़ते हैं और देखते हैं आज के इंपॉर्टेंट लेक्चर को. साथ साथ में बैठ के आप भी इसे सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कीजिए और अपना आंसर बनाने की कोशिश कीजिए. Now let's look at the first question with respect to globalization. Now again, right, you will see questions global south से related, developing country से related, poorer country से related. No matter what manner in which they may tweak that term, the idea remains the same. Right, so what have they asked you to do? They've asked you to critically examine the impact of globalization on the developing countries of the world. Right, straightforward question hai, but it has been put up as a very open-ended question. Right, it's quite open-ended in the sense that आपको एक रीजनल वेरिएशन दे दी गई है कि आपने इतनी डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज के बारे में बात नहीं करना, मेनली आपने क्या देखना है कि ग्लोबलाइजेशन के एक्सपेंशन से डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज या ग्लोबल साउथ के ऊपर किस तरह का एक इम्पैक्ट आया है, एंड यू आर सपोज टू क्रिटिकली एग्जामिन द सेम. राइट नाउ समटाइम्स व्हेन वी रीड द टर्म critically examine, and especially because the idea of globalization vis-a-vis developing countries, usually we end up taking a more critical lens. Usually we look at the disadvantages or the negative impacts that it has had. Overwhelmingly हमारा आंसर जो है सिर्फ उसी पे फोकस करता है. However, the fact of the day remains that no matter what kind of negative advantages, negative impacts we might be talking about, at the end of the day, most of the developing countries, the global south, continues to retain within the entire idea of transnational capitalism or globalization. Means that there must be certain advantages, there must be certain gains that these countries must have received, which is why either because they have directly received them, right? So there can be a number of examples of countries like say India, like China. Again, countries who, if we look at Wallerstein's framework, have moved from periphery to maybe a more semi-peripheral zone, right? Not exactly developed though, right? So countries like say South Korea, right? So all in here, we imagine this either directly to benefit us, or because we've seen other countries taking advantage of the same, there is hope for the rest of the global south that hopefully, if applied long enough or in a correct manner, globalization will reap benefits for us as well, right? That is why before we go on towards the critical aspect, which has more scholars, has more arguments, will also have greater amount of data to support your arguments, one first has to look at the positive impact of globalization also on the developing countries. And again, so you can have two broad subsections, right? There will be advantages and then there will be disadvantages. And then within these advantages and disadvantages, there will be subspheres, right? That in each of the zones, what are specific areas of advantages, and then in various spheres, what are specific areas of disadvantages that you have tended to encounter. Very importantly, whenever you look at conclusion with respect to globalization, one thing that you have to remember is that now there is no putting the genie back in its bottle, right? There have been numerous times, as we've talked about, right, in the aftermath of the global economic recession, in the aftermath of the pandemic, right, when there were questions raised with respect to the future of globalization or whether globalization is dead. Right? Even in those circumstances, we've seen that globalization has not completely disappeared. Right? We might want to tweak the way in which we approach globalization. Right? The countries with which we want to have a greater level and depth of relationship. But the idea remains that globalization, transnational networks, the interdependencies which have come to be cultivated due to technology, due to transport, due to communication, due to financialization, due to assembly line production, there is no going back, right? We might try to, again, as I've said, tweak those when we heard of ideas like reshoring or friendshoring, but there is no way that we can go back to those periods of golden isolations that countries have sought to enjoy in the past, right? So now that the genie is out of the bottle, now that the Pandora's box of globalization has opened, right, we can only try to reform it, right? And again, this is a realization that we will see even in scholars who support globalization. They are very well aware of the fact. So even people like Jagdish Bhagwati, even people like Thomas Friedman, they will also agree that, listen, like any other process in the world, there is bound to be two sides, right? And that is why even globalization is a double-edged sword. And now it is up to us, it is up to the institutions, it is up to the states, it is up to a number of transnational actors, all of whom are deeply entrenched in this process of globalization, to understand how do we make use of it, how do we reform it, how do we maybe even propose an alternate version of it so that we can maximize on the advantages and minimize the disadvantages. While there have been certain arguments which talk about rekindling of local economies, local politics, increased decentralization, while we can try to empower these, right? One of the ideas can be a bottom-up approach, but this does not mean that these localized economies will be completely out of touch with other economies or political sectors which are existing throughout the world, right? So while increasing the power at the bottom level of the pyramid, one cannot go against the fact that there will be constant flows of, चाहे हम गुड्स बोल दे, सर्विसेज बोल दे, टेक्नोलॉजी बोल दे, ये कंटिन्यूसली चलते ही रहेंगे, चाहे हम इसके अंदर जितना मर्जी रिफॉर्म लाने की कोशिश करें, राइट? सो दिस आइडिया has to be also inculcated in your answers. Now, the starting point of a lot of these questions when it comes to talking about globalization has to start with ke aakhirkar, what do you understand by globalization? And very importantly, I will suggest, because this is such an important term, it's become a buzzword, right? And it's been the buzzword for the longest time, right? So it is important that you at least pick up any one scholar who has ended up defining globalization. Whosoever you feel that जिसकी भी statement आपको relatively straightforward लगती है, easy to remember लगती है, कोई ऐसा phrase लगता है जिसको आप आसानी से recollect कर सकते हैं, I would suggest that at least one. So it can be कियोहेन को मैंने यहाँ पे कोट किया है, फ्रीडमैन का हो सकता है, एंथनी गिडन्स हो सकते हैं, डेविड हेल्ड हो सकते हैं, राइट? इतने सारे लोग हैं जिन्होंने ग्लोबलाइजेशन के ऊपर बात की है. तो एनी वन प्लीज डू पिकअप एंड उनकी जो डेफिनेशन है, एंड अगेन इसको आप अपने वर्ड्स में भी लिख सकते हो, राइट? अपने वर्ड्स में लिख सकते हो, बस कीपिंग इन माइंड कि जो इस सेंस जो कुछ कीवर्ड्स उनकी डेफिनेशन में है वो आप अपने वर्ड्स में भी जब लिख रहे हो उन कीवर्ड्स को यू आर इंक्लूडिंग फॉर श्योर, राइट? सो पिक अप एनी वन पर्सन दैट यू कैन कोट as a starting point to globalization, because it is such an important word and you can expect an answer for sure in your paper 2 on this, right? Now here we've looked at the idea, or the starting point has been given by Robert Keohane. Now Keohane says that when you look at globalization is not a single set of process, or it's not a linear process, right? As we've seen already, right? That why? Because its impact is on a myriad of societies and countries, right? And the way in which it's impacting is also complex, plus the spheres in which also it ends up impacting these societies and countries are numerous. Therefore, rather than looking at globalization as a linear single process, it is a set of processes which are multifaceted, which are very complex, because of which we can see not just increasing transnational flows. That means not only the pace and the speed of flows has increased, but what has happened also is that there is a thickness, right? There is a thickness of relationships, of interdependencies, of interconnections that we can view amongst various actors in globalization. In fact, we've previously also looked at, like, this is a term which you will find in your notes as well, right? It is Amitav Acharya's idea. We've discussed this a lot of times, of multiplexity as well. Right? The expansion of globalization has not just led to increasing what we call complex interdependence in the liberal arena, right, with growth of transnational networks of capitalism, but also what we understand as multiplexity, because of the range of actors who have now become important in this sphere of globalization, right? So it's not just states, but also say international organizations, regional organizations, civil society organizations, then other transnational actors also. These can be economic actors in the form of MNCs, TNCs. These can be other actors in the form of terrorist organizations or other multilateral, say, hacking groups which have also come to existence, right? So all of these actors have now come to play a very important role as far as the globalized world is concerned, leading to conditions of what we call as multiplexity. So rather than the idea of multipolarity or multiplicity of state powers, where there can be multiple states who enjoy this distribution of power and try to balance each other out, right? Here now we have the distribution of power not just among states, but a multitude of other non-state actors as well, right? So this again has been one of the major impacts of globalization seen across the world. Because of this reason, now we have the impact of globalization. It may have started as this neoliberal paradigm of expansion of capitalism across the world, right? Now that colonialism and imperialism had come to an end, globalization emerges as a consensual paradigm, right? That consent has states ka कि they want to participate in this neoliberal paradigm, which is going to reap results for them, which is going to ensure development for them, and they want to be a part of this growth journey, right? और इसको अब हम चाहे बोल दे इंस्टीट्यूशनल रीजंस के कारण, आइडियोलॉजिकल रीजंस के कारण, चाहे न्यो कलोनियलिज्म का फॉर्म लेके ऊपर इम्पोज किया गया है, बट इट हैज बीन एक्सेप्टेड बाय अ नंबर ऑफ कंट्रीज. And while its starting point may have been economic primarily, इसके जो spill over effects आए हैं वो political realm में, cultural realm में, social realm में, environmental and ecological realm में, हर जगह जो है ये हमें देखने को मिलते हैं, right? So again, I have given you a more expanded understanding of globalization, right? Again, you can pick and choose from here. You don't have to ensure that आपने ये जितना भी लिखा हुआ है उसको सबको include करना, नहीं. Even if you include just this one paragraph in your introduction and then move towards assessment of the impact, that should be more than enough, right? Here we have given you a more extended understanding as well, right? Now, one of the things that globalization does talk about is the fact that it has led to, as we've talked about, an integration of countries, economies and societies, which is why it has had a double-edged impact as well, right? That because of this integration, there have been certain positive spillover effects that a number of these countries have taken advantage of. But at the same time, we often see the underbelly of globalization also, which has led to a number of problems, right? Now, very importantly, Danny Roderick in this sense, पहले ही with a caveat या आगे एक चीज लिख देते हैं. ये कहते देखिए एक properly managed जो globalization है, मतलब not a globalization which is controlled just by a few countries or which is molded in a manner which only looks to concede the interests of a few, but a well-managed, properly organized globalization offers numerous opportunities as far as the countries of global south and developing countries are concerned. In fact, another interlinkage that you can draw upon can be, जैसे कि हमने comparative politics में देखी थी, political modernization की theories. Now, with the expansion of globalization, these ideas of political modernization based on economic development have become transnational in nature, have been magnified. And one of the vehicles of political modernization based on economic development has become the idea of globalization, right? So basically, अगर आपके जो domestic elements है, उनके through आप ये जो distance है उसे cover नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, आप इस globalized setup का हिस्सा बन जाइए, जिसके impacts and advantages आपको different spheres में देखने को मिलेंगे. In fact, in terms of economic development, there are theorists as well as real data also, right? Which backs the fact that yes, with the coming in of globalization, with the increased interlinkage of domestic economy with that of the global economy, it has led to an increased inflow of things that a number of times these developing countries did not have, right? So in terms of financial capital, in terms of investment, in terms of knowledge, in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, right? All of this has expanded into the economies of these developing countries, which has led to expansion of opportunities and growth as well. And one, एक जो हमारे जो शाइनिंग लाइट्स दिखते हैं डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज के अंदर आर द टू, एक ड्रैगन और दूसरा टाइगर, हमारा चाइना एंड इंडिया, ठीक है. Wherein this has been said, and again when we look at the world even today, we are witnessing that since 2008 the global economic growth has been on a downswing. There were certain years where again there was hope of revival, which within 2019 coming in of the COVID-19 pandemic again ended up eclipsing the same. And this we already know that because the developed countries have already reached a point of progress, उनकी जो डेवलपमेंट एंड ग्रोथ हो रही है नाउ इट इज हैपनिंग एट अ मच स्लोअर स्केल, राइट, विच इज व्हाई चाइना एंड इंडिया हैव बीन लुक्ड एट as some of the fastest growing economies, right? And now when China is dabbling with its own issues internally, right, India has been looked at as the shining, this bright light in world economy, right? So the fact that both of these countries have been growing at a much faster pace than the rich countries. Then very importantly, the idea which Jagdish Bhagwati always holds very close to his heart, that ग्लोबलाइजेशन के थ्रू जो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ आती है उसका ट्रिकल डाउन इफेक्ट आपको जरूर देखने को मिलेगा, राइट? और ट्रिकल डाउन इफेक्ट जो है इनका आपको कंट्रीज में भी देखने को मिल रहा है. पहली चीज तो वो बोलेंगे कि ये जो ग्लोबलाइजेशन का नेटवर्क आ गया है, पहला ट्रिकल डाउन तो हो रहा है दैट इट्स नॉट जस्ट द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज हु आर नाउ टेकिंग एडवांटेज ऑफ द सेम, इट इज ट्रिकलिंग डाउन टू योर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज एंड कंट्रीज इन द ग्लोबल साउथ एज वेल. So within countries you can witness this trickle down effect. Then inside countries domestically also आपको ये trickle down effect देखने को मिलता है, जहां पे when the tide is rising the boats of everyone tend to rise, right? So millions of people have been lifted out of poverty, right? So both for China and India this is true, right? When we look at the numbers, when we look at the reduction in the existence of poverty, this stands true also that when we look at India, the pace of reduction of poverty in the aftermath of the LPG reforms has been much faster vis-a-vis जो हमने encounter की थी during the planning era, right? So this again tends to correlate to the fact कि देखिए the coming in of liberalization, privatization and particularly globalization has led to substantial advantages for these countries. Then importantly, even in the generation of employment and in the form of employment that we witness as well, right? So one of the sustainable ways of ensuring that poverty is something that is tackled is by job creation of employment opportunities. So there is examples given how China के अंदर with a progressive opening of the economy, we saw the manufacturing boom, right? The export-led economy growth, जिसके कारण manufacturing sector में millions and millions of jobs were created, right? Similarly, हमने पहली भी बात की है, right? While Bangladesh might be undergoing numerous political crises, the idea remains that in the past decades, Bangladesh has developed a lot on a number of critical human indicators and in fact has been one of the fastest growing South Asian countries, including the fact that it has been able to create jobs and employment opportunities as well, right? This was particularly true in the garment sector, right? This is again something जो कि हमने IGP के अंदर भी देखा है. इसके बारे में सेन एंड डेरेस भी बात करते हैं, दैट पर्टिकुलरली व्हेन यू लुक एट बोथ द कंट्रीज ऑफ वियतनाम एंड बांग्लादेश, दे हैव बीन एबल टू मोनोपोलाइज ऑन दिस एडवांटेज ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर इन द गारमेंट्स, लीडिंग टू क्रिएशन ऑफ मिलियंस ऑफ जॉब्स. एंड पर्टिकुलरली बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीजन विमेन की एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन बांग्लादेश हैज बीन ऑन एन अपस्विंग, right? And with respect to that, setting up of their own sweatshops, setting up of their own cottage industries to support this garment sector has also been encouraged with the coming in of microfinance, जिसके spillover effects आपको पूरे देश के अंदर देखने को मिलते हैं. Similarly, globalization के आने के बाद the kind of upswing that India has seen it's in its technology services sector, right? Wherein you have the coming up of IT hubs, right? While it was led by Bangalore and Hyderabad, you see Gurgaon, you see Noida, right? You have the coming up of all of these cities with the opportunities of high flying jobs with good salaries available to these people, right? There will obviously also be the negative impacts also, right? How we are seeing since 2023 and 2024 continuously the way in which the tech layoffs have been happening, right? And this problem will be encountered, this will be seen as a negative impact of globalization as well, right? That if you reap the benefits, right, जो उनके एक spillover effect के अंदर जो negative impact आएगा वो भी आपको झेलना पड़ेगा. Similarly, Joseph Stiglitz himself, who's one of the critics of globalization, also has acknowledged the fact that economic growth के साथ साथ पॉवर्टी, जेन्युइन पॉवर्टी रिडक्शन जो है ये भी आई है, राइट? इनफैक्ट द वर्ल्ड बैंक का खुद का डेटा जो है कैन बी यूज्ड टू बैक दिस आर्ग्यूमेंट एज वेल, वेयर इन अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी जो है इट एंडेड अप फॉलिंग फ्रॉम 36% to 10% in 2014, and this was largely led by the reduction in poverty which was witnessed in developing countries in the aftermath of globalization. Now, not just पॉवर्टी रिडक्शन, बट इसके जो पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट्स है हमें ऑल एवेन्यूज ऑफ ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट में भी देखने को मिल रहे हैं. एंड अमर्त्य सेन हियर ऑल्सो अग्रीज टू दिस फैक्ट that he says one of the greatest things, which is why again he will say that the answer does not lie in doing away with globalization, but it lies in reforming globalization, right? So he agrees to the fact that the coming in of the globalization has led to human development increasing, right? Better employment opportunities leads to increased incomes, leads to also increased sources of taxation for the states, which means that states are in a position to create virtuous cycles by spending more on health, on education, on access to social security, right? And because of this reason, we are seeing better performance on human development indicators as well, right? So if we look at China's human development indicators have increased massively, right? So from 0.499 to upwards of 0.7. Similar has been the case with even India and India's human development indices, which abhi also while lagging have been much better since the pre-globalization era. Similarly, Nancy Birdsall also, in exemplifying how globalization has impacted better human development, particularly focuses on the healthcare facilities. So she says that when you look at the availability of healthcare, right, say when we look at our mortality, when we look at child mortality, when we look at maternal mortality, when we look at our life expectancy rates, across developing countries, there has been a massive upswing in the same. And again, this is a result of the kind of openings that globalization has ensured, right? Leading to transfer of medical technologies, drugs, medical knowledge, resources, all of which have been due to the coming in of globalization, right? So while one can agree that yes, globalization has ended up providing benefits to the developing countries, the fact of the matter remains that there has been an increasing awareness with respect to continuous and long-standing issues also that globalization has given rise to. Now, इसके बारे में बहुत सारे स्कॉलर्स ने बात की है. पहली चीज नेओमी क्लाइन का हमने पहले भी देखा है, नेओमी क्लाइन का वर्क है ऑन डिजास्टर कैपिटलिज्म, right? And the expansion of globalization again by means of shock doctrine, right? तभी हमने शुरुआत में बात की थी कि पॉलिटिकल मॉडर्नाइजेशन का एक मोर एक्सपेंसिव वर्जन पॉसिबल हो पाया है थ्रू ग्लोबलाइजेशन एंड वाइसा वर्सा, राइट? दोनों ही, that one now rather than having a bottom up approach towards political modernization and economic development, एक top down approach हमें देखने को मिली है, जहां पे अगर developing countries खुद इसके राह नहीं अपना रही थी, they were arm twisted by the Bretton Woods institutions in doing the same. And because of this reason, wherein in their most vulnerable situations, right? So say for example, we have seen in case of India, we've seen in case of Pakistan, we've seen in case of Sri Lanka, how a number of times these institutions only provide economic assistance in return for certain promises that the developing countries are made to hold true to, right? So आपकी जब सबसे ज्यादा vulnerability होगी, जब आपको सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत होगी, उस दौरान ये स्ट्रक्चरल एडजस्टमेंट प्रोग्राम्स जो है आपके ऊपर थोपे जाएंगे, which is why Naomi Klein calls it disaster capitalism. And due to the opening up in these vulnerable situations, globalization meets you at your possible worst, which is why the negative repercussions of globalization also tend to get magnified. Now, because of this reason, this coming in of globalization has also been viewed as a new form of neo-colonialism, right? तो चाहे आपका imperialism and colonialism in its formal aspect has been ended, neo-colonialism now continues to persist. Now again, we link it to IR की ही और theories wherein we talk about that how the persistence of this neo-colonial globalization and the forcing of developing countries into transnational capitalism has ended up producing relationships of underdevelopment as well as dependencies, right? So scholars like A.G. Frank, scholars like Wallerstein have ended up signifying the same, that when you look at the kind of advantages that have come to the global south or to the developing countries, you witness a lot of asymmetry, you witness a lot of structural imbalances, wherein most of the decision-making powers, right, and the largest portion of the pie also tends to accrue either to the developing world or to the political elites in the developing world. Similarly, David Harvey also in his analysis of neoliberal globalization talks about the fact that how it has led to increased inequalities, जिसके कारण for the poorest of the poor, जो social and economic injustices है, they have tended to increase. And you can view the inequalities also. So for example, अगर हम चाइना की भी बात करते हैं, चाइना के अंदर थिंग्स आर बिकमिंग वेरी ऑब्वियस, द डिवाइड बिटवीन द रूरल एंड द अर्बन, जहां पे आपके अर्बन सेंटर्स के अंदर तो जो बड़ी बड़ी सिटीज लाइक शंघाई, बीजिंग, ये सब हैं, आपको वो दिखेंगी एज वर्ल्ड सिटीज, सिटीज दैट आर कंपीटिंग विद द लाइक्स ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क, लंदन, पॉसिबली इवन बेटर देन देम इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट. एंड वहीं पे अगर हम रूरल जो इनके हिंटरलैंड है उसकी हालत देखते हैं, they haven't been able to develop and reach the infrastructural or even economic development which has been enjoyed by the urban spaces. Then not just this, geographically भी अगर हम देख लें, the kind of inequalities that have materialized in inland China versus आपका जो coastal regions है, right? So the coastal regions have ended up doing much better देन जो इनलैंड चाइना, अब हम खुद ही देखते हैं ज़ीजियांग के अंदर भी माइनॉरिटीज को सब्जुगेट करना बाय द पॉलिटिकल एंड द इकोनॉमिक एलीट कितना ज्यादा आसान हो गया है. Similarly, the way in which power has been utilized by the political elites, that is the people who belong to the Communist Party of China. So while here they will be putting forward their own lopsided understanding of state corporatism, वहां पे उनके बच्चे you see going to big universities in US, in Canada, shopping in these big brands, right? So this is in fact symbolic of the kind of inequalities that are witnessed. Similar is the case with India also, right? Which is why again the idea of Bharat versus India, जो कि से 50 साल पहले 75 साल पहले वैलिड था, वो आज भी उतना वैलिड ही होता जा रहा है. Similarly, in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, what we have witnessed, the increasing wealth in the hands of the top 1% of India versus the worsening of circumstances of the bottom 50%, right? All of these एक तरह से जो हम inequalities देखते हैं, जो हम disparities देखते हैं, these have been further increased due to the existence of what we understand as globalization. Right now, because of this concentration of wealth, Pratap Bhanu Mehta says this has also impacted the political sphere with the rise of plutocracy, right? Which is why we also talk about the increasing idea, जब आप opposition की भी बातें सुनते हैं कि अडानी अंबानी की सरकार, and दोनों जगह ये valid होता है, right? No matter what government is in power, this unholy nexus between private corporations and government tends to exist across varieties of governments, across political parties as well, right? और ये प्लूटोक्रेसी जो है अगेन और ज्यादा इनेबल हो जाती है थ्रू द फोर्सेस ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन। अगेन वन मोर स्कॉलर जिनको आप अगेन यहाँ पे ना पिक एंड चूज कर सकते हो, जरूरी नहीं है आपने इन चीजों को सब्सटैंशिएट करने के लिए सारे स्कॉलर्स देने हैं। The idea, the multiple examples that I try to include in the answers is that within these, if there are 10 examples and pointers given, if you're able to retain even 5 or 7 of them, you will be able to write a good answer, right? So the idea is कि इतने सारी चीजों में से कुछ चीजें अगर याद रह के आप reproduce कर पाओगे, they should be enough to get you good marks, right? Thomas Piketty, again Piketty is someone जो I think political theory में, thought में, पेपर 2 में हर जगह मेंशन किए जा सकते हैं। सो अगेन आई हैव सेड दैट दीज स्कॉलर्स हु टेंड टू गेट रिपीटेड टाइम एंड अगेन रियली कैपिटलाइज ऑन देम सो दैट इनके थ्रू आप मैक्सिमम मार्क्स जो है उनको निकाल पाओ, राइट? पिकेटी अगेन दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट ही सेज यू कैन सी राइजिंग इनइक्वालिटीज बिटवीन द डेवलप्ड एंड द डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड एंड देन विद इन द डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड एज वेल, which is why you also witness a number of anti-globalization and alter globalization movements today across countries, right? Across countries, and in fact 2001 में ही इसका एक more formal face निकल के आया था in the form of the World Social Forum, right? जहाँ पे ये बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं एक alternative face of globalization की। So against what they thought was the dominant economic forces congregating at Davos through the World Economic Forum, इनका एक counter balance निकल के आया था in the form of World Social Forum, right? So and again it is something that has continued 2024 के अंदर नेपाल के अंदर भी हुआ, right? But the idea is that obviously इसकी strength थोड़ी diminish हो गई है, इसकी importance थोड़ी diminish होती हुई दिखती है, and that is going to be obvious because it does not have the kind of forces, it does not have the kind of resources that World Economic Forum tends to enjoy. Naomi Klein also gives you very hard life examples of the same. Now, Klein says and talks about in her book No Logo that when you look at the way in which economic growth and expansion of employment has also happened, which are seen as advantages of globalization, you see the disparities within them. That when it comes to developing countries, employment has mainly been generated in the informal sector. Right? आपको ये मेन इनफॉर्मल या अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर के अंदर दिखेगी, and this has happened why? Because globalization has allowed the movement of industries in search of low cost labor, in search of जहां पे working conditions बहुत ज्यादा stringent ना हो, जहां पे labor rights जो है बहुत ज्यादा strict ना हो. So while employment opportunities may be offered, this has come at the cost of poor working conditions, extremely low wages, heightened exploitation, a complete abuse of labor rights, right? ये सब जो है हमें देखने को मिलता है. And in fact, because of this reason, because of the idea that globalization is basically interest hungry, the movement, the flight of capital is led by the need for increased profit. So the moment one developing country is found to be done away with, या फिर हमें लगता है कि यहाँ पे हम एक level of saturation achieve कर चुके हैं, they can very easily just pack their bags and move to another country, leading to wide scale economic and other repercussions in these countries, right? So because of the coming in of globalization, already we are witnessing the backing of the state has tended to narrow its horizons, right? The state has tended to pull back from certain areas जहाँ पे पहले बहुत active थे. Now, whenever there is a flight of capital, whenever manufacturing and other industries tend to move, the repercussions therefore also impact their economic and other well-being, right? So for example, again हम बात कर सकते हैं कि किस तरह से BPOs, right? इंडिया के अंदर भी एक टाइम पे BPOs were very famous. Then the flight happened because India से भी ज़्यादा cheaper labor and English comfortable जो एक लेबर मार्केट थी उन्हें फिलीपींस के अंदर मिल गई, राइट? सिमिलरली व्हेन वी लुक एट टेक लेऑफ्स हैपनिंग इन इंडिया एज वेल, इन अ नंबर ऑफ डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज एज वेल, राइट? दीज आर आल्सो सीन एज नेगेटिव और डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन. नाउ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंटली इन टर्म्स ऑफ सोशल स्फेयर एज वेल, when we look at the manner in which globalization interacts in the creation of equalities and inequalities, it varies across people. Now, one very important social manifestation of globalization has come in the form of feminization of poverty or feminization of migration that we witness in developing countries. Now, because of increased globalization, right, because of the state pulling back, what has happened is that a lot of times the men of the households are forced to move in search of jobs, and more often than not these jobs are in relatively privileged regions, right, relatively well-to-do developed states and provinces, or in urban cosmopolitan centers, right? So now this leads to women having to carry the burden of the family as well as whatever local अपने हाउसहोल्ड की जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स है इन्हें ये खुद मैनेज करनी पड़ती है. Secondly, more often than not, we've seen that there is a need to supplement family income also, and therefore in the lowest tiers of informal labor, we witness a massive shift wherein women are getting more and more employed here. Similarly, because of the kind of new age demands and increased flow of people and migration that we have witnessed amongst the developed and the developing countries, we are also witnessing women-led migration for certain kinds of jobs, right? So domestic helpers की तरह, nannies and governesses की तरह, right? Nurses की तरह, right? So we see a number of women from the global south, from developing countries, moving to West Asia, moving to the developed world. A lot of times they also have to face worse working conditions. They often have to face abuse. They have to face exploitation, right? All of which they tend to deal with. Why? Because of the kind of employment opportunities and wages that they are able to get out of this work, right? Very importantly, because of the coming in of globalization, there is also filtering down, a watering down of the kind of rights that exist to protect them as well, right? The same idea can also be talked about in reference to the rise of gig workers across the world, particularly in the developing world. Now, very importantly, apart from such socio-economic consequences, there have also been the negative impact in ecological and environmental sphere. एंड यहाँ पे प्लीज आप नाम याद रखिए, दो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फेमिनिस्ट एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट स्कॉलर्स का नाम, सुनीता नरैन एंड वंदना शिवा, राइट? बोथ ऑफ देम आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड आप इनको भी मल्टीपल जगह पे यूज कर सकते हो. इन्वायरमेंटलिज्म का क्वेश्चन है, वहां पे आप इन्हें यूज कर सकते हो. फेमिनिज्म का क्वेश्चन है, वहां पे आप इन्हें यूज कर सकते हो. आईजीपी के मूवमेंट्स के अंदर, पेपर 2 के अंदर, हर जगह जो है यू कैन यूज देयर नेम्स टू बैक योर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, राइट? सो ट्राई रिमेंबरिंग एटलीस्ट एक का नाम अगर आप दोनों का नहीं रख सकते, राइट? सो वंदना शिवा अगेन हैज टॉक्ड अबाउट दैट व्हेन यू लुक एट globalization, right, you see how it has ended up worsening environmental degradation, pollution, and climate change circumstances in the developing countries. Now, she gives examples. The first great example in this regard comes with transfer of polluting industries. Now, this has become very obvious, right? कि अब क्या करते हैं, लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स ये विटनेस कि कौन सी इंडस्ट्रीज को ये मूव करेंगे, दोज इधर जिनको लो कॉस्ट लेबर की रिक्वायरमेंट है, या दूसरे जो कि बहुत पल्यूटिंग है. तो क्योंकि डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में देयर इज अ ग्रेटर अवेयरनेस, लॉज जो है ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट हो चुके हैं, पोस्ट मटीरियल मूवमेंट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गई हैं, these polluting industries tend to move from the developed to the developing countries, right? तो हम देखते हैं टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर के अंदर, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सेक्टर के अंदर, स्मेल्टिंग की जब हम बात करते हैं, all of these are very very polluting, right? So their expansion in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Philippines, Vietnam, everywhere where because of the pollutants often people are impacted, उनकी health is impacted, their drinking water is impacted, increased pollution हो जाती है. Then very importantly, not just polluting industries, we've talked about waste also, right? तो waste भी, जैसे कि for example e-waste जो है बहुत ज्यादा कई बार अफ्रीका के अंदर भेजा जाता है कि e-waste वहां पे भेज दीजिए. और एक और चीज वो क्या करवाते हैं, e-waste जब चला गया, अब उसके अंदर हमें पता है कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट मेटल्स भी होते हैं, राइट? सर्टन प्रेशियस एंड नोबल मेटल्स जो है उसके अंदर पाए जाते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल गोल्ड है, सिल्वर है, राइट? तो वहां पे छोटे छोटे बच्चे जो हैं उन्हें एम्प्लॉय किया जाता है टू रिमूव दीज मेटल्स एज वेल फ्रॉम दिस वेरी टॉक्सिक इंडस्ट्री, जिसके कारण उनके हेल्थ पे भी इंपैक्ट होता है. Similarly, you must have read in newspapers also the ship breaking industry. India has become one of the main centers of the shipbreaking industry as well. और ये जो शिप ब्रेकिंग है, अगेन इट इज अ हाईली पोल्यूटिंग इंडस्ट्री, राइट, और इसकी बहुत ज्यादा नेगेटिव रेपरकशंस भी होते हैं. एंड दो जगह जहां पे शिप ब्रेकिंग जो है बहुत पॉपुलर हो गया है, एक इंडिया में अलंग के अंदर हमें देखने को मिलता है, एंड दूसरा बांग्लादेश में इन Chittagong, right? So again we can see that how there is a transfer of globalization of the negative impacts, the negative health and ecological impacts also, wherein the developed world seeks to basically transfer all of these impacts to the developing world. Vandana Shiva is also critical of the kind of issues and impact that this has tended to have in the sphere of agricultural development as well, right? तो ये बात करती हैं with the coming in of hybrid seeds, with the coming in of again what we call is green revolution, the kind of misuse of water which has happened, the way in which that these hybrid seeds cannot keep in tune with climate changes, they are extremely expensive, which is also led to heightened indebtedness of the farmers, right? And then the lopsided relationship जो कि हमें देखने को मिल रहा है, I think the peak example of it comes in the kind of problems that we are witnessing, including a complete breakdown of conversation in the WTO, right, which has rendered, right, which has continuously led to the questions arising कि क्या WTO अब obsolete हो गया है because of the kind of controversy that has been waged around the Doha development agenda, right, जहां पे developing countries have now talked about that how their interests, their demands are not being taken into consideration when we look at the development of international trade and economy. राइट नाउ इसके रेपरकशंस अगेन हम कल्चरल स्फेयर के अंदर भी देख सकते हैं, जहां पे ऑफन द कमिंग इन ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन इज सीन एज वेस्टर्नाइजेशन ऑल्सो, राइट, दैट ये इंक्रीजिंगली इंडिजिनस कल्चर, इंडिजिनस लैंग्वेज, लोकल ट्रेडिशंस को के ऊपर हावी होके वेस्टर्न नॉर्म्स एंड वैल्यूज जो है उनको सुपर इम्पोज करना चाहता है, which is often leading to a lot of problems, not just the loss of indigenous culture, right, but also the fact that it has often led to very violent backlashes leading to Huntington's thesis of clash of civilizations as well, right? So when we see say celebration of Christmas को लेके, right, celebration of Valentine's को लेके इतनी ज्यादा जो है एक रेपरकशन एंड बैकलैश आता है कि ये हमारे जो देश का है नहीं है, हमारी संस्कृति के साथ मैच नहीं करता, even though you have religions in India who follow the same trajectory, but the wide scale consumerism associated with them has come under major attack, right? Similarly, due to increased global challenges, rise of non-state actors, the problems have also tended to become globalized, right? That is what Professor Ramesh Thakur says, right? He says that when you look at the issues of climate change, when you look at the issues of terrorism, trafficking, hacking, cyber security, all of these have tended to spread in a faster manner and put their tentacles even within the developing countries who are often facing greater difficulties in how to manage them, because उनके पास कई बार ना नो हाउ होती है, राइट, ना टेक्नोलॉजी होती है, ना रिसोर्सेज होते हैं कि वो इनके साथ आराम से डील कर पाए, राइट. Therefore what we witness is that across a range of spheres तो impact आ ही रहा है, बट ग्लोबलाइजेशन जैसे कि हमने पहले ही मेंशन की थी एक डबल एजेड स्वॉर्ड की तरह है कि जहां पे इट हैज लेड टू द इमर्जेंस ऑफ सर्टेन बेनिफिट्स, इसके जो रेपरकशंस, जो नेगेटिव रेपरकशंस आए हैं, जो डिसएडवांटेजेस आए हैं, दोज हैव बीन मल्टीफोल्ड एज वेल, राइट. Now again, in terms of looking for a solution, we have scholars on polar opposite sides also. Now there are scholars like Walden Bellow who say that there is need for deglobalization, right? और इन जैसे scholars के लिए they would say that देखो already we are entering the era of slowbalization in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now we need to go back towards looking at our local economies, ensuring sustainable self-reliant growth rather than engaging with globalization. On the other hand, there are more pragmatic scholars, right? People like Stiglitz, people like Piketty, people like Amartya Sen, who understand that now that globalization has been undertaken, there is no going back. However, what we can argue for, what we can present certain suggestions for, is a new and reformed globalization, right? जो कि very importantly सिर्फ economic growth पे focus ना करे, बल्कि ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट के वाइडर आइडिया जो है उस पे देखें। साथ ही साथ में जो इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है गवर्निंग द फोर्सेस ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन, उनको हम थोड़ा और इंक्लूसिव बनाएं, थोड़ा और पार्टिसिपेटरी एंड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बनाएं, राइट? So all of this can be used to really understand what are the problems with globalization and try to give solutions for the same also, right? Similarly, Jagdish Bhagwati भी यही बोलते हैं, ये बोलते देखिए, I understand that globalization may have led to certain issues. Globalization is not just the part of the problem, but it is also part of the solution. So there is no going back. One can only pick up the idea of globalization and reform it in a manner that there can be greater taxation, there can be greater say of developing countries, there can be greater facilities made available to ensure that developing countries are able to reach the trajectory of growth they expect to reach, right? Similarly, very importantly, भिखू पारेख भी यहाँ पे बोलते हैं कि हमें ग्लोबलाइज लेवल पे एक डेलिबरेटिव डेमोक्रेसी को इंश्योर करना है अमंग्स द कंट्रीज, राइट? ताकि एक जेन्युइन डायलॉग जो है कंट्रीज के बीच में, सिविलाइजेशंस के बीच में हो पाए, ताकि जो एग्जिस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम्स है ग्लोबलाइजेशन की उनको रेक्टिफाई किया जा सके। एंड अगेन द रेक्टिफिकेशन डजंट हैव टू कम इन अ टॉप डाउन मैनर, which is again what's adds problem to the entire issue, right? The fact that more often than not when solutions are suggested, these come from the historic circumstances and context of the developed world and not the developing world. Therefore, an increased dialogue and deliberation between the developed and the developing world, as well as various international organizations, will ensure a more in touch, a more reformed, a more bottom-up version of globalization, which is able to bridge the kind of gap between the North and the South, between the developed world and the developing world, which we are witnessing, right? So again, now an extended version, an expanded range has been included in these answers, so that even if you have a subsphere or a subsector जिसके ऊपर question पूछा जाता है, you should have adequate authors, scholars, examples, pointers जो कि आप उस particular topic के लिए include कर पाए, ठीक है?